Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and welcome back to another episode of my Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2020 playthrough with the Nittany Lions of Penn State. So today is going to be tournament time. Hopefully we'll get through all the tournaments. We'll cover the Big Ten tournament from our conference, and then just move into the Final Four tournament, and hopefully we'll get them all in there. I think the last time I did that I was able to, but just to catch up, if you missed last episode, we finished out the season, my third season with Penn State, with a big win at home against Iowa, who are ranked 19th in the country right now. We beat them 79-67, pretty convincing win. It was the first win against Iowa for this Penn State team throughout the 6 seasons that I've been in this playthrough. Started out 3 seasons with Austin Peay, and then now 3 seasons with Penn State. But it was a pretty poor showing though overall. 13-16, 8-12 in conference, which was 1 win better than we did last year in conference. But once again, we really struggled on the road, and we just could not overcome a lot of tough road matches down the stretch, and that it stings a little bit. I feel like this is going to be our last year with Penn State. I can't imagine them keeping me. But now it's just all going to come down to the conference. Are we going to be able to get 15 wins? If we manage to surprise and get a couple of wins in that tournament, they may keep me around, but we're guaranteed 17 losses. And that's going to be tough, I think, to get past. We when I took over this team, they were struggling. They weren't heading in any real big direction that I would call positive. So I think I was able to get us, you can even sell here. I mean, I was able to get us a few wins better than where they were when I took over, but I just could not get over the hump. And a big conference like this, you can't have those kind of seasons year after year and stay around. So it's going to take a miracle. We'd have to, I think, blow through the conference and somehow either make it to the finals of the Big Ten conference or win it, I think, at this point, to save my job. But we're going to go through it and get started. I think this is probably going to be a quick roll for us. If you look at the matchups, we're not playing the first day, for what it's worth. At least we finished, we finished 8th out of 14, so not quite in the top half, which is what the board and the athletic directors want me to do. But, we're middle of the pack. I think that's kind of where we were throughout this whole run that I've had with them. Maybe a little bit below middle of the pack. So we're going to go ahead and play out these games and see how it looks, and then we'll take a look at the tournament. Maybe go through and look at some of the other tournaments, and then get started on the Final Four. And we're probably going to have to do some recruiting, because we're about to come to the last contact period of the year, where we can, I think you can go for the box score here, yeah. Where we can make our in-home pitches to some of these recruits. All right, so let's go back to the results here. Indiana wins against Rutgers. Purdue, a little bit of an upset there. Purdue's the bottom seed. If you look at the standings, they had a really tough year. But unfortunately, I think we lost. Our road record really killed us. Just, had we managed just 2 more wins on the road, that would have been enough to give us, the 15 that we needed as a target, for the season. And I think Rutgers is one of the teams that we lost to, so they're by far the worst team in the conference. So now I'm going to take a look at this inbox to make sure it's not something from recruiting. No, it's just Wisconsin, who we have beaten this year. They're having their worst season that I've seen, certainly since I took over Penn State. But that's probably the worst season they've had throughout this whole playthrough. So let's go see if we got some magic here. And I forgot to uncheck the sim settings. So let's go back to let's just go back to the games grid and uncheck it. So we got Maryland beating Nebraska, Purdue over Ohio State, Illinois over Indiana, and Wisconsin, Penn State. So here's what's going to happen, and we lose. So 71-61. This unfortunately was our worst year with the team. So that's how hard of a challenge this was. I think I just wasn't able to get anything positive from this time with Penn State. As far as the game goes, they controlled it pretty much throughout. Shot just under 50%. Wisconsin did. Great at the line. We didn't go to the line as much, and we shot under 40%. That was a big difference here. They out-rebounded us 31-26. A.D. Lee, finishes out his career with 17 points. Big game for him. This guy was really, he was a troublemaker in the last couple seasons for whatever reason. So it's probably going to be a good thing that he's moving on. But in terms of the bench play, not seeing too much here to feel too good about. Reichert, I'm going to be interested if I stay with his team. It's going to be interesting to see if he got any ratings boost playing down the stretch as the starter. He got 20 plus minutes each of the last 3 games. I'm hoping that can make a difference maybe. He did have 5 rebounds, not too bad. Just 6 points though. The team is just, I know it's like a broken record, but the quality of the recruits on this team are nowhere close to what you need to compete in a conference like this. So I can't stress that enough. If you're having these kind of results, I don't know how you're going to win. I have one 3.5-star player and a couple 3 stars, and that's it. And I never saw anybody, even when I joined the team, I don't think there was anybody rated 4 and above. You just can't compete. You could take almost any random team in our conference, and for sure the top teams in the conference. But you could just look at Wisconsin having a rough year this year, and look, they've got a 4.5-star power forward, 3.5, 3.5, 3, 2 threes. You can just see the depth is way better, and that's. They had a rough season because this is worse than it usually is. Usually they have 2, 3, 5-star, 4 to 5-star players in their starting lineup. Who else? You can look at any team. Ohio State, who have traditionally been pretty bad in this playthrough. Look at that. They've got 1 5-star freshman, 4-star, 4 players rated 4 stars or better. One of them is a walk-on. How they got that, I don't know. But, and they're like middle of the pack. They had probably their best season since I've been doing the playthrough. But I just could not compete. And I know I'm talking like past tense here because I just can't imagine staying with this team. But if I do get another year at it, I don't know that I'll be able to overcome it, because when I was with Austin Peay, I think you can get those kind of recruits if you're lucky, get some 3-star and above players. I think you're going to be competitive in your conference, but not here, not with the Big Ten. But let's go ahead and finish it up. So I didn't really see. Well, let me get back to Penn State, but I didn't really see who won on the 8th. But let me go back and see. So yeah, I did. Okay. So now I'm just going to go back to the tournament view, and we're going to have Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois. That should be a good matchup. Purdue is still in there. They knocked off Ohio State, so that was a big upset there. So why can I not sim that? All right, here we go. And there's another incident. If it's the usual suspects, I'm not gonna worry too much about it because no, it's Reichardt and Parks. Gosh. So if I look at the dashboard, I mean Parks is at this point he's a sophomore. He is a better player than Reichardt for sure. I don't want to mess with him too much. Maybe I'll call Reichardt and see. Yeah, his team relationship's terrible. Man. So another drop. I mean, he may go next year, and that would really leave me really in a tough spot. But I can't understand why he's having such bad relationships. So I don't. I mean, is Parks? Does he have a bad attitude? No, he's very likable. So I'm not sure what that's about. But there's definitely some attitudes on this team. I'm seeing it way more with this team than I did with Austin Peay. All right, so let's go back to the bracket here. So we got Minnesota beating Illinois, Michigan easy over Wisconsin, Maryland kind of an upset, although Maryland, they're gonna be competitive every year. Iowa easily over Purdue. Shouldn't be that big of a surprise in that one. All right, so it's going to be Iowa, Michigan, two very good teams for the championship of the Big Ten. And Iowa has won at least one title, one national title, since they won it one of those years I was with Austin Peay. And they're going to win. They knock off Michigan 74-58, so they're going to probably go in pretty high in the tournament again. So now the brackets are set. I'm just going to go ahead and go to the brackets. We could look at some of the tournaments, but well, you know what? I'm gonna look at the OVC tournament. So we got Tennessee Martin over Southeast Missouri State. Austin Peay must have had a pretty decent season. They were the 3rd seed. I'll go ahead and look at the final standings. Yeah, they had a good year in conference. But let's go ahead and move to. Well, I didn't mean to do that. I don't think I can advance yet. yeah, there's some tournaments still playing out here. And that's the selection show. I am gonna skip it, but I want to make sure on the recruiting that, okay, we're still in evaluation. How's Ted Brown looking? Whew, not too good. So we've got one commit right now, and he is a shooting guard, and for the most part, he's held his rating. So I'm going to be visiting some of these guys at home. I think point guard is the one area that I'm going to struggle with. So I'm going to try to get a couple shooting guards. So Jim Grays is one who we're pretty high up on his list. John Davis, he's like the best point guard recruit I have, and he's a 1-star. But we're not quite ready for the visiting, so I'm going to go ahead and skip the show when it gives me the chance. So when we go to the 15th, I'll be able to go for some in-home visits, and that's where I've got to, let me make sure, 19th, sorry. That's when I've got to make, well, I do have April, but I think by April, a lot of those bigger guys are going to be gone. So I want to make sure I'm moving back to pitching some of those guys pretty heavy. So let me go to the brackets. No, let me see if it's going to have it. Final Four tournament. So we're not there yet. So let's go ahead and get those last few play-in teams out here. And then we'll Clemson. Wow. Okay, so probably, yeah, it should be set up for now. So let's go ahead and look through the brackets. East Rutherford region. Kentucky, a top seed there. Illinois, Chicago, Georgia, North Carolina, Tulsa, Hampton, Illinois, a pretty high seed. So they're the highest seed I'm seeing from the Big Ten in this bracket. Kansas is one of the top teams year after year in this playthrough. They're a 2 seed here. Georgetown, Iona seems to be a little bit of a surprise. Florida State, a high seed here in this bracket at 3. Then Villanova, another team year to year. They're top, one of the top teams. We've got Texas, Wichita State, Nevada, Las Vegas, Brigham Young. They're having a good run in this playthrough. Michigan's going to be a 2 seed in this region. Michigan State's a 3 seed. So that's kind of interesting. They could potentially, if they play through and do what they need to do, you might see a Michigan State matchup for what would that be, the Elite 8? That would be pretty cool. And then, so that's 3 teams so far from the Big Ten. Now we go to the Houston region. Arkansas, number 1 seed here. They've also made it to the finals, if not won it one season in this playthrough. You got some Virginia, Louisville. You got some teams here that we see a lot. Butler, West Virginia, pretty high in this seed. Arizona, they're perennially one of the top teams. They're going to match up Arizona against Tennessee Martin, who are coming out of our old conference, the OVC. It's got Oklahoma State, California, Iowa, a 3 seed out of this one. So I think they helped themselves with that Big Ten tournament. I think when we beat them, may have moved them down in the rankings a little bit. So So that's going to be, what is it, 4 teams now from the Big Ten. And now the last one, the Anaheim region, Florida is going to be tops in this region. Gonzaga, number 2. So Gonzaga's back being a powerhouse team again. Mississippi State, Pittsburgh. I'm seeing some, Air Force. There's some potentially Cinderella stories here. So we got Mississippi, Iowa State, Minnesota. That's another one. So that looks to be 5 teams from our conference made the Final Four tournament. I don't think I missed anybody, right? Yeah, it looks like these 5 teams made it. So a little bit of an odd year for the Big Ten. No Maryland, no Wisconsin. Indiana really struggled. So it's, you had Illinois had a good year. But typically, these guys have been pretty high up on the list year to year. So just with 5 teams in the tournament, I think that's a little lower than it usually is. So we're just going to go ahead and start simming ahead and going through these games. And again, we're going to be close to the contact period here. So I want to jump back to that when I can. So we've got the first round of games here. Kentucky easily over Illinois, Chicago. North Carolina at number 9 beating number 8. Kind of a small upset. Tulsa, a big upset, 12-5. They beat Seton Hall. Illinois beats Hampton, 77-74, so that was close. Kansas over Furman. Georgetown beat Iona. Utah State, Florida State, and big. And then in the Indianapolis region, Villanova big over Liberty, Texas over Wichita State. No surprises there. Michigan barely got by Stephen F. Austin. Buffalo wins. St. John's, the only, kind of upset here, 11 seed over 6. Michigan State easily over Utah Valley. So now let's move to the next 2 regions. And we're going to have Arkansas easily over Idaho State. Louisville knocks off Virginia. Butler wins. West Virginia loses to Appalachian State. That may have, so far, I think that's the biggest upset. 13 seed over 4. Arizona easily over Tennessee Martin. California, an upset there, 10 seed over 7 seed Oklahoma State. St. Joseph's, Iowa, those all win. And then the Anaheim region, Florida big winners over UC Santa Barbara. I was just going to go here to see if it gives me their record. No, they come in ranked 6th in the nation, but they may have won the SEC tournament on top of that. So Pittsburgh loses to Mississippi State. Again, not a big upset, but 9 over 8. Kent State, they've been in the tournament a few times. They've got a good run going here. And then Miami easily over Air Force. Gonzaga easily advanced. Nevada, number 10, 7, upset there in the seeding. Northern Iowa knocks off LSU, so that's a decent upset. Minnesota wins. So far, every Big Ten team is winning. So let's move ahead to... This is going to be for what, the Sweet 16. And already I can see a big upset here. Brigham Young, you had a great season. They're going to be out. So we got Kentucky easily over North Carolina by 16 points. Illinois beats Tulsa. Kansas easy over Georgetown. Utah State loses to Florida State. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 coming out of this bracket. No upsets. And then you got Villanova over Texas. Old Dominion again. I say that's a big upset. It's not a big upset, but Brigham Young had a great year. And then Michigan easily over Buffalo. Michigan State easily over St. John's. So this is what you have. Like I was saying when we started the brackets, you're going to have Michigan taking on Michigan State for a chance to get to the Elite Eight and move on to Final Four. So far, no Big Ten teams have lost. So we're going to move to the next two regions. Kent State's going to be out of it, looks like. And again, this is for the Sweet 16. You got Arkansas over Louisville, Butler over Appalachian State, so that is over. Once again, Iowa, another Big Ten team, they beat St. Joseph. So we have had, I think it was either last season or the season before, we have had Final Fours where two teams from the Big Ten were involved. So it could happen again. Iowa could be strong enough to come out of this conference, but you've got 1, 2, 3, 5. I mean, really almost no. Well, we finally have one Cinderella, and it's because they beat the only Big Ten team yet to lose in the conference. But the final region, Anaheim, you got Florida over Mississippi State. Kent State loses to Miami, Florida. Gonzaga wins comfortably, I guess, over Nevada, but Northern Iowa, 2 points over Minnesota. I wonder if this went to overtime. It didn't, so that was just a very close game. So Minnesota knocked out, and now the only Cinderella story into the Sweet 16, Northern Iowa at 11 seed. So we're going to get ready for the next week in the tournament, but I'm going to go back to the recruiting list here. I don't know why it's doing that. So we'll start with center, and I'll go to the call watch list. So Ted Brown, we've already given a scholarship to this guy. I'm going to go ahead and visit him, and I'm going to go with academics first, and then I want to move on to I said I was going to go for one more shooting guard, and in terms of, Shannon Shepard, I think we're his top pick, so I'm not going to worry too much about him right now. But man, I mean, regionally we've got Will O'Kelly. He's wanting a school close to home. I don't really know about Marcus Robinson. I don't think I got any. Yeah, he's really not interested, so I can kind of forget him at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and remove him from the list. So we got Henry Barnes, Marco Gordon, who's visited. So I'm going to, even though we're not in his top 10, I'm going to visit this guy and watch some film as well and just see if location will sway him a little bit. So now I'm going to go to Power 4 because I think we're probably going to have to really get some power forward recruits in. And I think in terms of recruiting, I know I've given Reggie Crawford, Ted Brown, John Davis. Those are the guys who I've got out there with scholarships. So let me go back to the power forward. And I think I want to go to Sam Neeser and just see if I can convince him a little bit. In state, I would think, I'm going to go with location, I would think that he would be we would be higher on his list, but for whatever reason we're not. And then the last thing I want to do is man, it's sad to me that I can't get any of these power forwards interested, or point guards interested. And most of the ones that I'm seeing, they're they're like, I don't know, good scoring point guards, but not necessarily good ball handling point guards. So let me go to center, and I just got to see if Ted Brown is going to be viable. And if he's not, I'm probably going to look at some of these other guys. I think we got Abe Gaines, really interested. I just don't know if he's going to have the, I don't know if he's going to have the scholarship or the academics to make it. Did I already schedule? I did schedule with Ted Brown, right? Yeah, he's already scheduled. So I think I'm going to go with Reggie Crawford. We're fourth on his, and there's so much to really pitch him. I think I'm going to pitch him academics as well. And let's see if that moves us up the list for some of these guys. And we'll go back and finish off the tournament here. All right, so, and there's these other tournaments that are playing in the background. I might take a look at them if we have time. Tennessee, for instance, they're still around. I like to keep up with the SEC because I'm in SEC territory. So we're at Thursday, so today should be the next round of games. And it's going to be Michigan State. Knocks off Michigan. So, I don't know if I would say that's a surprise. Michigan has not been as strong in this playthrough as Michigan State overall, but they had a better season for sure. So in the East, Rutherford region, you got Kentucky beating Illinois, and then you got Kansas beating Florida State. So you got 1 and 2 seeds out of that region. And then in Indianapolis, you got Michigan State, a 3 seed. And Villanova, pretty easy. 17-point win. I think Villanova has won a title in this playthrough as well. And then going out west, Gonzaga squeaks by 35-3 this year. So Arkansas knocked off. So Butler going into the Elite Eight for a chance to the Final Four. That so far, I mean, they're going to be, they're kind of the Cinderellas so far, but Iowa gets knocked off as well. So we've only got one Big Ten team left in the tournament at this point. And then last region, you got Florida losing to Miami and Gonzaga over Northern Iowa. So 4 and 2. So yeah, as crazy as it may seem, Butler is the Cinderella team right now. And Michigan State, they're done. Villanova 38-1 this season. So we should be getting some. I think we should be getting some responses for the visits. We'll take a look at that, and then we'll move on to the Final Four. So what do we got? Ted Brown. There you go. He has chosen our school. Reggie Crawford has chosen our school. Looks like the home visits went well. So this could be bittersweet if this is true. It's hard, I know one of the viewers has even commented and made this point. I've seen it myself. This may not play out when it comes to how they're actually going to be when they join the team and start practicing and all that other thing. These ratings may go down, but that's pretty good for me recruiting wise. I mean, those 3 guys, you got 2 4-star players here. Reggie Crawford, the number 4 rated small forward in the region. You got Ted Brown, the number 2 rated center in the region. That's pretty good. I think that is really, really good for me recruiting wise. it's hard to it's going to be hard to swallow if they are that good and I'm gone next year. But I think it hopefully shows that you can recruit from a team like Penn State, because I was about to give up on it. But now I want to go back and see how that moved the needle on some of these other guys. So, and I should have just double checked it, and I will. So we've got 6 scholarships total to offer. So that's shooting guard, small forward, center, point guard. I guess he's probably going to be the best option I have. But let's see. I want one more shooting guard and a power forward. So the power forwards are where I really need to focus right now, I think. So let's see what we got. Unless one of these guys is really... I mean, he looks really good. He could probably play power forward. The best, power forward recruit, I don't really have much going on there. Joe Wells, we're 10th on his list. His GPA is really borderline low. Tremaine Anderson. I'm going to visit this guy and pitch. I don't know if his SAT is going to be enough. And I can't remember. You get it. It's either an email or I don't know where you get that, but $940. So they have to have a 940 or above to get in. And I think so far the guys that I've offered, that's not going to be a problem with them. So there's one 1110, 1040, Manny Dixon, 1020. So let's see on the power forwards. Tremaine Anderson, he's not going to make it. And then we got Griffin. I'll go ahead and just pitch him playtime and see if that he's going to come. It's a quiet period. Oh my gosh. I thought it was 2 weeks for the contact period. It's only a week. So I've got some more time in April. So I'm going to move ahead and finish out the tournament then. Maybe Kerry Harrington, man. This guy's showing his passing though is so low. It bothers me, but he's visited us. I'm gonna watch some more film. I'm gonna call him and see if there's any hard pitches that I can make to him, like program facilities, academics, team prestige. All right. So I'll work on that probably offline when we finish the tournament. So let's get her going. That's Butler, Arizona. And I think we simmed ahead, did we not? So we got Kansas over Kentucky. Nice to see Kansas moving on. Michigan State, big blowout against Villanova. So now we go to the Houston region. Butler, are they going to be the surprise team? I tell you, Miami's kind of a surprise. They didn't come in here ranked too high. Butler, though, pretty bad loss, 68-40, so their run's over. But it looks like out of Anaheim, Miami, Florida, they're a high seed, but that's, I think that's kind of a surprise to knock off Gonzaga there. So now we're going to be going to the Final Four, moving ahead another week. And like I say, I'll probably look at a couple other tournaments before we get out of here. Syracuse looked like they picked up their 20th win. So what day is it? Friday. So we got one more day. And here we go. Saturday. It's Kansas, Villanova, Arizona, Miami. And Arizona is in there. This will be the at least the second final that I'm aware of that they've made it to. See what we got on the inbox. So pretty good visit from him. I'll take a look and see how that matters to his rankings. But we got Kansas over Villanova. So Kansas, a fairly big upset. I think Villanova, they were the #1 seed out of their region, but they were probably the top team coming in. So let's go ahead and see who's going to win that title. It's going to be Kansas. Wow. Kansas, 91-72, not even close. So big win for them. And that's going to move us into, not quite, I don't think we're going to be into that final. Yeah, we're into the dead period right now. Let's take a look at the emails. So we can go through, I guess, the advance to see the winners. But before we do that, let's take a look at how the tournaments wound down. So you got Kansas, the title holder here, the Final Four winner, and then we got, I think the WOL is a postseason tournament. So you got Nicholls State over Long Island. And then Syracuse wins this one over Stony Brook. And Tennessee Tech was in this one, but I don't see any, not seeing any Big Ten teams there. So the WOL tournament, a lot of teams usually in this one. Maryland was in this one and made it to the final of their region, but lost. This is probably, the WOL might be similar to the NIT, or I don't know what the CIT is. I haven't really been keeping up with a lot of that lately. Tennessee won their region, but the finals went to Nicholls State over Long Island. So now here's the NIT. So I'm not sure that WOL. I'm not as familiar with it. So we had Ohio State in this one. They lost early. It looks like Colorado came out of there. Memphis, usually a pretty good team. And I'm not seeing any other Big Ten teams. So the finals of this one looks like it went to Boston College over North Carolina State. I really wish we could have at least gotten into one of these postseason tournaments. I think that would have helped us out a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and skip through the presentation here, but we'll see who the award winners were. That's another thing, we didn't really get too far in that category either. I didn't really have a superstar type player. But let's see how the Big Ten, if we had any award winners in this one. Player of the Year, Marquez Pfizer from Iowa, who is just a sophomore, really good player here. I can see this guy probably going to pro. He was Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. Then Anthony Metcalf, Freshman of the Year, center, really had a good year. 4.5-star player. Mike Robinson at Michigan, Coach of the Year. And then team awards, first team, Mark Cohen, Anthony Ellis, Watson. So nobody from our team, and nobody from here either. It would be nice to even get somebody on these postseason awards. I know with Austin P, I got some players I think here and there that showed up on the postseason, but this has just been really a disappointing run with Penn State. So if I look at the OVC individually, not seeing any Austin P players individually, but Brad Casper's center. He was I think he may have been one of my recruits. So he wound up having a pretty decent season, and he's looks like he's probably I can't see how he's rated because don't have a scouting report on him, but it looks like he's turned into a good player. But that's going to do it. I'm going to go ahead and advance to the off season and see if we're going to be around next year. And if we are, I'll finish up some of the recruiting. If not, I'll probably take a break and decide what I'm going to do with this one. If I'm going to pick up another team and play through some more seasons, I'd like to start getting back to showing some other computer games on my channel. I'm kind of limited in time, so I'd like to have at least 2 or 3 different games though that I'm showing. I just kind of got wrapped up in this one. This one has been, I've said it many times before, I love sports management games, and this has been one of the hardest, most challenging games that I've ever played. It's just, it's really difficult, and you can see we are unemployed. We were fired, so not really unexpected, and so we did finish in top half of the conference, so that was good. So I think if we had made, probably had we done one of these other things, we may have saved my job, but just couldn't eke it out. So right now I'm going to have to find another job, and that's what I'm gonna decide that probably offline. I know I've had some feedback from some viewers. Maybe it might be time to kind of go back to a smaller conference and pick up a team that's maybe got some upside to it, or maybe has some challenge to it. But yeah, we'll see what's out there before I really make a final decision. But I don't know if I'm going to go to another team in a bigger conference. That's the big decision that I got to make. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching and supporting my channel. Hopefully you enjoyed the episodes of this game, whether it was Penn State or Austin P. This is a tough game. Maybe you got some pointers from watching me play. You probably got more pointers from watching me lose and look bad than any success I've had, because I haven't had a whole lot with this one. But it's still, for some reason, I find it fun, so I'm going to keep playing probably. But otherwise, I will look for you next episode, and thanks for supporting my channel. Stay tuned. We'll probably have some more games coming out soon. Either way, I hope to see you back. Thanks.